Hey everybody, it's Matty here. I'm going to make you a fragrance video today. It's been a while since I've done this, since I've done any impressions on fragrances, and there's been a few people that said, you know, can you review some stuff? And it is coming, I am going to do some stuff eventually, but today I'm going to bring you some first impressions of a new fragrance house. It's one of the YouTubers' lines. I think they're all connected. It seems like they're all by the same backer, someone out of the Middle East. But this is Ashton. Shout out to him from Gents Scents. His line is called Galleria. As far as I know, it's the same kind of thing as Navitus, same perfumers they seem to be working with. But obviously he's got a different design on his ones, different bottles. And to be honest, this line, given his taste, generally appealed to me a bit more than some of the others have so far, especially a couple of the fragrances. So what I did, I found a seller in the UK, Fragrance Samples. I believe that's another YouTuber, Greggy Boy's company, but I saw that he had the bottles in and was doing samples, so it's the only place you could basically sample it in the UK. So I ordered samples. Didn't really want to pay for all of them, considering I probably wasn't going to like too many of them, but I've got 4 in here to share my impressions with you today. I've called it second impressions because I have actually already sprayed them. But here they are. I've just got a mil of each, although I've already sprayed them a couple of times. And the ones that I went for were, which ones have I got? I've got Dusk Till Dawn. Let's have a look at there. I've got all the write-ups for them here. Dusk Till Dawn, which is Bertrand de Chauffour. I'm not too sure how to say his name, but that looks like it's supposedly like a leathery thing with a bit of tobacco and quite a bit of citrus going on up top. Might be up my ballpark. I don't like many of those kind of scents, but you never know, might be a nice one. I've also got Shades of Seduction, which is meant to be I guess a panty dropper, a spicier number. Let's have a look at that. Shades of Seduction. Yeah, you got the cardamom in there. It's well known from obviously YSL's Nani and various mass pleasing scents. Hopefully this is like a more niche version of something like that. And by the Yuzu Grove, that's another one. Citrus scents are generally easy to like, and I definitely like them. It's probably like my one genre scent which I'm really keen on, and I've really got into more than others. So I'm always good to try a new niche citrus which might do something a bit different. It has some interesting notes actually. It had like some kind of cocktail note going on in it. A bit of spice, and yeah, we'll see how that one is. I'll definitely be able to tell you relative to the other best citruses that I think are out there. And then the last one, and this is really the reason I wanted to sample the line. You probably have an idea that what the scent might be. It was the where is it? Here's the seduction. The Cognac Cafe, and love coffee scents. Love the smell of coffee. Very hard to find good coffee scents, I find. There's a couple I might talk about later. But yeah, Cognac Cafe is the one I really want to try from this line. It's cognac, coffee, why not? I think that's going to be a great combination. I definitely like a good cognac note, although I don't have any perfumes I feel that do that note well along with other pleasing notes. There's obviously Roger's Enigma, not too keen on that. I love the cognac note. The rest of the scent doesn't really do too much for me. It's a bit sour, a bit powdery I find on the dry down. But yeah, definitely down for the cognac Cognac Cafe. The notes in that seem to be all kinds of things I was all over, like coffee, almond, licorice, sandalwood, there's like a cognac barrel note and a coffee steam note, I think was one of them. So that sounds like it's going to be really exciting. It's going to be a really good one to try. All the reviews I've seen on all the lines so far, but definitely the Cognac Cafe have said they're quite unique. So more than up for trying them out. So without further ado, I think I'm going to get into them. Only going to be quick impressions, but I can quickly tell you whether I like them or not, if they're interesting. Fortunately, I'm not going to be like, oh, this one's great, this one's great, this one's great, because my taste is quite, I find 90% of what I put my nose on, I don't really like. So you're not going to find glowing praise about all kinds of scents. It doesn't mean they're bad scents, it just means I know what I like, and I'm probably not going to like most of this stuff. Or I'm going to tell you something that I think is superior. But without further ado, Dusk Till Dawn. So what I'll do, I'll read the note breakdown just as I'm going to get into it, and I'll tell you what I get. So Dusk Till Dawn, there's some top notes of bergamot, cardamom, pomelo, sage, mid notes peony, lily, cyclamen, leather, tobacco, base notes, there's a lot of notes in this, myrrh, cedar, vanilla, patchouli, vetiver, papyrus, ambergris. So basically a whole bunch of stuff. I wouldn't be able to tell you how I think this is going to smell based on the notes, but I'm expecting something to go in the leathery direction, which can be a bit, I don't really like Tuscan leather and a lot of those kind of sweeter leather scents. They smell a bit chemically to me, but we'll see what this one says. I think what I'll do the ones that I'm probably not going to be so keen on my arm, so let's spray this one. Yeah. So this one is very, as I thought before, this one's very citrus heavy, off the top at least. It's got a very sharp, a very sharp citrus note and something a bit musty, like more leathery going on underneath. It's pleasant. It's not really my kind of scent, to be honest. Yeah, it definitely has more, I wouldn't say old-fashioned, but it's not one I would personally wear. But it is quite interesting. It's quite fresh, and yeah, it's quite fresh. And the way the citrus transitions through to the rest of the notes is really well done. That's what I thought about this one before, at least. That it was surprisingly bright, given that it's supposed to have all these kind of darker notes going on with tobacco and yeah, the leather note, and then obviously a base. So, Dusk Till Dawn, what genre is it described as? Yeah, no one's reviewed that one so far on Parfumo. But Dusk Till Dawn was nice enough that I sampled it. But again, being in the leather genre, probably wasn't going to do much for me, and again, it doesn't do too much for me, unfortunately. But I wouldn't say it's unpleasant, I'd just say it's not my taste. So the next one was going to be Shades of Seduction. So we'll give that one a little squirt. Shades of Seduction. We got top notes: pepper, cardamom, bergamot. Heart notes: lavender, bourbon, cinnamon, benzoin, guaiac wood. Base notes: vanilla, amberwood, and patchouli. So yeah, this is going to be. Someone's compared it to Parfums de Marly Layton, which I'm not familiar with really. But I'm looking for something a bit spicy from this, and we'll see what happens. And it's definitely spicy. Definitely spicy. Yeah, this is one I remembered from before, surprisingly. I thought it would be potentially be a sweet scent, but it wasn't really very sweet at all. Yeah, this one's very... it's very spicy, and it almost has like a herbal quality to it. So it's spicy and fresh. So it does a good thing at balancing those two qualities. I wouldn't say it's even in the ballpark of if you're expecting something like YSL and Neat or something which is your mass pleasing lady killer type scent with like cardamom and whatever. It's not that kind of scent. It's more natural smelling, to be honest. It doesn't have that much of a synthetic vibe, considering some of the notes. So. And yeah, the cardamom definitely comes through. So yeah, I say I like this one. I say again, it's not really my ballpark of scent that I would personally pick up. I have got YSL Lanite and I enjoy it a lot. Obviously an much older bottle. That kind of genre. I also like the one EDP. That's a great smelling one that fit that kind of vibe. Doesn't perform obviously. So yeah, I've got other things in this direction. This one, a little bit too raw and herbally for my liking, but very well done. And I can smell from these two already that these scents are really quite strong. I think they're supposed to be extracts, and that figures because they smell like they're going to transition a lot potentially as well. So I'll try and talk a bit about the dry down if I can, if they've already settled by the end of this video in a few minutes. But yeah, it smells like they're going to have some transitions, and yeah, they're going to have some performance and projection. And I think you spend, whatever they are, $200 a bottle, you're going to expect performance. So you're definitely going to get performance, and quality definitely going to be there. Unfortunately, these two, not really my kind of scents. I'm generally into green scents. I'm not generally into scents which have too much of like a pungent quality to them. I'm big on citruses. things that smell fresh and clean and are just easy to wear generally. But like I said, coffee is a note that I'm big on, so we'll get onto that in a minute. By the Yuzu Grove is going to be the next one I'm going to talk about, or test. Let's have a look. Cognac Cafe by the Yuzu Grove. We've got a bunch of citrus notes at the top. I think these notes aren't the complete notes. Remember this having like a cocktail note. Anyway, I'll read you the notes as I'm looking at them. Yuzu, lemon zest, ginger, yeah, it's got yuzu twice. Yeah, it's not the right notes. Anyway, mandarin, mid, pepper, frankincense, nutmeg, sage, a little bit of spice there. Base, leather, vetiver, cedarwood, sandalwood, typical kind of base. You might put a citrus scent on. So yeah, I'm going to give it a spray. I think the notes you can pretty much just really looking for what you get, what kind of vibe you get, what quality you get. And this one smells really good off the top. Really good. You get that kind of sherbety lemon thing going on from the combination of the yuzu and some of the other citrus notes that like pop off the top. I guess the ginger is making it like sparkle a bit more. This one's really nice. Really nice. More in terms of citrus scents. More obviously in the yellow direction of how it smells. A bit more lemony than you'd get in I guess a bergamot, which is a bit more greenness to it, and some of the other types of citrus scents. Yeah, this is a very nice scent. Citrus wise, I'm going to say why I probably wouldn't be looking for something like this, but I'll say it's a nice citrus scent. It's definitely of a niche quality. Has a nice depth to it. The way it's been crafted, it has a very nice depth to it. I remember this one from before as well. The dry down being quite persistent, so it's quite hard to get a nice citrus scent with a pop at the top, which still has some depth to it, if that makes sense. So very good off the top. Bury my nose in it and don't really get anything harsh or chemically, so the quality is there. The ingredients in this must be really, yeah, or it's just blended well as well. But yeah, very nice lemony citrus type concoction with like a lemon, almost like a lemon sherbet vibe, but not so sweet. Bit more of like a kick to it. I guess that makes sense, right? You've got the ginger and the pepper, and I think we're going to get more of the spices and the like darker notes as it cools down a bit. But yeah, this one I could wear easily. It would be suitable, I imagine, at any time, just as a fresh scent. Wouldn't necessarily just need to be for summer. This one's very easy to rock. Very nice, very niche quality. Alternatives, we'll talk about those in a bit, but yeah, really good. Unfortunately, really good isn't going to cut it for me when it comes to citrus scents, but again, it was worth sampling. I'm glad I sampled this. So that's by the Yuzu Grove. And last up, this is really the star of the show, the where is it? The Cognac Cafe. Obviously, I've already used most of this little sample, but here it comes, Cognac Cafe. Did I spray that on? Yeah, this hand is free, so time for some Cognac Cafe. Ooh, whew. Ooh, whew. I've posted in a thread on Base Notes the other night when someone was asking for cognac scents. And the normal suggestions like Enigma, I think Frappin's 1270, which is the same perfumer as Cognac Cafe. Let me just blast you the notes quickly. Yes, coffee, almond, sugar, brown sugar, licorice, mid-note, papyrus, sandalwood, coffee, absolute, cognac, base notes, vanilla, amberwood, cedar. I think it was barrel of cognac was supposed to be the note, but this one doesn't have like the full notes, and myrrh. So yeah, this one has the opening of this one is killer. It really good blast of like licoricey brown, like a licoricey brown. Yeah, it does a really good rendition of what cognac smells like, although it's a little bit sweetened up, which makes sense because you've got the kind of the cafe element and the vanilla and some of the other things to round it off. But yeah, when people were posting about cognac scents, straight away I was in there, I was like, Cognac Cafe, you guys got to get your nose on this one. This one is this one's doing cognac, I think, to another level to what other scents have in terms of being wearable. Yeah, it's definitely wearable. It has kind of a sharp quality. Someone asked me what it smelled like the other day. I said it's very much a spiky kind of thing coming off the top. Spiky, like licoricey texture. And then you can smell there's a bit of woodiness and even creaminess going on beneath that. And that's what I really enjoy about this. I like the contrast of like the spiky licorice element that's coming in at the top. And then you've got this smoother, creamy undertone to it. And then as it dries down, it all kind of fuses into one, and you generally just get more of that licorice vibe. I can't really say it's much of a coffee scent, if that makes sense, because I don't get an overwhelming coffee. Although the way the coffee is in there, I think it's mixing with the smoother notes, and yeah, just kind of smoothing out that like sharp, like licoricey blast you get at the top, which never smells harsh, by the way. Like that opening. It's kind of like, ooh, it's kind of like, you know, you're kind of eating a strong licorice, but it's never unpleasant. It's always pleasant. Yeah, very unique smelling. I've never smelled anything kind of like this in the niche realm. I think this is the creme de la creme of cognac, like even boozy scents, just because of the way it's, yeah, it's just got that kind of licorice thing that's going through it. I have another scent that's got, that's probably my kind of go-to scent that has that kind of sweetness, that licoricey sweetness to it, which is a Mogler one, Co-Impertinent, which is it's amazing. It's yeah, one of my favourite scents ever. But this one, for the same reasons, I think, is in there. It's obviously it goes in a bit more of a brown direction than that one, with how the kind of scent smells. You get that kind of woodiness, I guess, from the cognac barrels, whatever. The coffee steam at the top. I don't know if I really get a steam effect, but I definitely get something, when it opens up, I definitely get this like sharpness to it. It's almost like piercing in the air. So I guess steam, the way that steam travels in the air, you could say it's kind of piercing the air or whatever. But, and yeah, the coffee foam or coffee froth. Yeah, there's definitely some interesting stuff going on at the top in the way it's kind of like, yeah, going on, the texture of it. I said it was like spiky, but yeah, the sharpness at the top is really pleasant. You get that that licorice vibe is there with the top note. The way it's like, so I imagine when it projects and other people smell this, they're going to pick that up, which is really good. Because normally, you know, you don't normally project that kind of note in such a like, I guess a high frequency way. Normally it's like blended in with the rest, but the way it's kind of poking out of the top in this one's really well done. So yeah, really enjoy this. I couldn't say whether it would be bottle worthy particularly, just because it's expensive. I have other things which are alternatives to this, but I will be looking in the future for sure if there's splits or, you know, discounts. And obviously I can't, with the 1 ml that I've got, I can't really give it a good proper testing. I can smell it, you know, give it a smell a couple of times, but I'd love to take this one out, see how other people react to it, because I think it's potentially very massa pleasing. It definitely has a more masculine vibe to it. There's one of the other scents I was comparing it to before. There's a Herrera one called Bronze Tonka, which is really nice. Very, very good, sweet scent. But it was a bit more floral and kind of went a bit femme, I found, which is still very nice. But this one, the way it's kind of licoricey, I think it's gonna keep it as a more masculine quote unquote option, which I like. I like those scents which are sweet, also have that kind of kick or depth to them, which makes them still so manly. So, there's a lot of these, you know, like Tonka scents or any scent that's got coffee in it, it generally has a tendency to sometimes get a bit sweet if it's going for the more gourmand element, which is what I'm looking for. Obviously on the other side of the coffee scents you've got the ones which try and do coffee with sweet and coffee with fresh, and those ones are generally a disaster if you ask me. So this one's not a disaster, this one's great, this one's unique. Definitely my favourite of the four, just in terms of, yeah, its uniqueness. I mean, the Yuzu Grove one is very nice, and the dry down's great too. It's a top tier citrus scent for sure, but it's not, unfortunately, it's not breaking out as being quite unique and amazing enough to get into my collection at the moment. But by all means, good release. All these scents are smell quality. They're just for me. You know, the Cognac Cafe was the one I was looking for. And if you guys want some alternatives, and obviously I can talk about these more in depth, but your grand holy grail of coffee scents, Acro's Awake. I've actually got 2 bottles of this. I've got a backup. That's how good I think this is. More people are starting to find out about this one, but I've had this one a while and spoke about it on a base notes thread, which, I mean, if you Google Acro Awake base notes, you'll probably find my thread on it, where I go into how I think this one smells and why it's so great, and why it is, in my opinion, the best gourmand scent I've ever smelled, really. It's the way it does coffee, super realistic, dark, rich, just the right amount of sweetness. If you just want straight up coffee, that's the one in my mind. It has a little bit of cardamom in it, which is really its secret like ingredient that makes it like extra yummy. It has like a chocolate vibe on the skin. It's strong, it lasts, it's with you for ages when you spray it. Acro Awake, 10 out of 10 gourmand coffee scent, best coffee scent on the market today. Another one that I'm quickly going to pull out, which is similar in the sense that it has like, its coffee's not a main player like in Cognac Cafe, but it's there and it's enough to kind of give you a kind of roundness to the scent. This, and it's not too sweet, is what is it? It's Noir Exquis by or Exquis, or however you say that, by Larsan Parfumer. A new addition to my collection, one that I had a decant of and enjoyed it, but didn't truly appreciate it until I wore it. And when I wore it, I really kind of got into how it smelled. It has it has chestnut as one of the like unique main notes in it, as well as coffee, some other stuff going on. But this one, and they had a sale recently too, so I think I picked this one up for, what was it? It was only about 50 quid for the 100ml bottle, and I got a candle with it too. It was some kind of gift set, so I couldn't pass that up really for the money. So for getting this for 50 quid for the 100ml, I thought that was a bargain. For the quality of the scent, unique composition. It's got coffee as well as a nutty vibe going on. Slightly kind of tangy twist to the entire scent because of the nut, but still sweet, still creamy on the dry down, and very interesting and very, very, very fun to wear. I enjoyed it. When it comes to sweet scents, this one's wearable, which is all I really want, because many of them I find not wearable, too creamy, too sweet, too synthetic, you name it. I've smelt it and hated it. So this one is, in terms of the coffee genre, this one's my number 2 with Acro Awake. There might be a number 3. I've got a cheapie called Cafe Tonka, which is a really good cheapie, but a little bit thin, a little bit weak. But again, it's decent, because all the other coffees I've tried, absolute rubbish on the whole. Not enough coffee, or there's always something going on with them which kind of wouldn't let me wear them. So there's that. One other scent I'll mention, just briefly, because if you like, by the Yuzu Grove, and it has a really interesting dry down actually. I get that grove thing they're going for, because it does smell almost like a whole kind of plantation or something going on. The way it's, got some real nice depth to it. But if you want a niche citrus scent, it's really, for me, and this is another scent I've grown to appreciate in the last couple of years, more so more recently, is Roger's Elysium. For me, that's 10 out of 10 citrus. The way they've done the refreshing musk and whatever's going on, whatever they've done in that, it's got berries, it's got grapefruit, and it's just a blast of freshness, and it's very expensive for what it is. Parfum cologne is I think it's a couple hundred quid for a bottle, and it doesn't really last very long, so big money. But if you really want a good citrus on the niche side, and I mean best I've smelled, you've got to try and invest in the Parfum. You see the black cap on this is the Parfum, the extrait of Elysium. It lasts way longer than the Parfum cologne. Slightly different smell, maybe slightly sharper because of the way the top note is more intense. But for the summer, for a niche citrus scent, this is the most enjoyable one I found. It's very natural smelling too. Just a remarkable pop and freshness that you get when you wear it, and yeah, absolutely love the stuff. So just as a little aside as to why I'm not going bananas about maybe the Yuzu one, just because it's like, you know, it would have to do something different. And Yuzu is like, it's alright, but I do like my citruses on a slightly more, even more on the tangy and the sharp side. I like the combination with apple normally, and I like the bergamot and the grapefruit, and obviously a big Aventus fan as well. So I generally like the citrus scents that get really sharp and almost like sour, if that makes sense. And this one has quite a bit of stuff going on that rounds it off, to the extent where I would like it if it was even more sour, I think. But still very, very nice. Star of the show is Cognac Cafe. It's just the dry down on it. It's just, yeah, it's just this creamy, like licoricey thing going on. It's like, you know, the licoricey thing. It's like really pops out, and then the more the kind of sweet creaminess is always lingering there in like the background, and it's yeah, it's very well done. I highly recommend it if you want something with a good cognac note, or you like coffee scents and you want a new type of coffee scent. Cognac Cafe would be one to definitely sample, see how you get along with it, because I think it's very easy to like. Would say it's more on the masculine side, which for me is good. I don't like scents that smell, you know, too much, you know, how I would perceive to be feminine. But yeah, good stuff. So thumbs up. Again, shout out to Fragrance Samples for getting the bottles in, so some of us here could try it. Although they're not cheap samples, but I'm more than happy to, you know, to support businesses that are getting these rare bottles in, so we can sample them. Otherwise, you're looking at expensive decants or bottles to blind buy, and you know, not going there anymore. given how many of these things I'm not really feeling. So that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed those impressions, and obviously any comments, drop them in the comments. You know, I'm more than happy to elaborate on the Cognac Cafe, or even if you want to see me talk about some of these other scents I've mentioned, give us a shout. I'm definitely going to do some more reviews at some point. Probably, you know, go into the ones that I've got my collection now to a level where most of the ones that I'm keeping and I'm wearing, they're more or less 10 out of 10s in one way or another, even if they don't last. You know, the top note is amazing, or you know, ones like the Elysium Parfum or the Acro Away, I consider them to be the best scents ever of those particular genres that have come out that I put my nose on. And you know, I think that's what we all want, really. When we're building our collection up, we want to go for those best of the best. We don't need 200 bottles, we just need the ones that really, really like please us, and obviously maybe people around us. So peace out.